Hello, and welcome to my presentation on net neutrality, an examination of legalities and ethics. My name is Krista Meyers. Throughout the course of this presentation, I'll tell you what net neutrality is and why it's important. I'll also tell you what it means for businesses versus consumers. And once we begin to understand the concept of net neutrality, I'll tell you who's for it and who's against it. Then, I'll introduce reasons as to why some people believe it is unethical and even illegal. Next, I'll discuss why others believe it is both an ethically and legally sound regulation. Finally, I'll conclude with my personal views and any references used. Thank you for watching. Enjoy. So what is net neutrality? Well, there are many definitions. Publicknowledge.org defines it as the principle that individuals should be free to access all content and applications equally, regardless of the source, without internet service providers discriminating against specific online services or websites. In other words, it's the principle that the company that connects you to the internet does not get to control what you do on the internet. The ACLU's definition states that network neutrality means applying well-established common carrier rules to the internet in order to preserve its freedom and openness. Common carriage prohibits the owner of a network that holds itself out to all comers from discriminating against information by halting, slowing, or otherwise tampering with the transfer of any data. And Wikipedia's definition says that net neutrality is the principle that internet service providers and governments should treat all data on the internet equally, not discriminating or charging differently by user, content, site, platform, application, type of attached equipment, or mode of communication. Essentially, all online content should be equally accessible to all internet consumers at the fastest available speed and without additional charges. So what does net neutrality mean for businesses? Well, according to SaveTheInternet.com, internet service providers, or ISPs, are the gatekeepers to the internet, and without net neutrality, they would seize every possible opportunity to profit from that gatekeeper control. Net neutrality is essential for small business owners and startups who rely on the open internet in order to launch their company, create a market, advertise their services, and distribute products to consumers. The open internet fosters job growth, competition, and innovation. This means that online companies will not be forced to pay ISPs for faster speeds. Net neutrality levels the playing field by allowing equal access to all online content without discriminating against the content owner. It also allows for equal access from potential customers to find your business through search engines. And because you don't have to pay for the faster speed, your website traffic will be undeterred, meaning that people who visit won't get annoyed by slow load times, giving you an equal shot at getting noticed just as much as businesses with deeper pockets that would be able to pay ISPs for faster service if net neutrality did not exist. So here's what it means for consumers. In a recent article by USA Today, writers Snyder, Yu, and Brown answered the question as to why the internet is now viewed as a public utility by saying, the FCC has the authority to regulate it. Internet providers will be reclassified as common carriers, private companies that sell their services to all consumers without discrimination, similar to the way consumers got landline telephone service. In the FCC's press release on sustainable rules to protect the open internet, they introduced 3 specific rules that ban practices known to harm the open internet. These practices include no blocking. This means that broadband providers can't block access to legal content, applications, services, or non-harmful devices. Now, the second rule is no throttling. What this means is that ISPs cannot impair or degrade online traffic on the basis of content, applications, services, or non-harmful devices. And the third rule is no paid prioritization, meaning that ISPs can't charge content providers to set up fast lanes, making their site's download speed a priority over another content provider that doesn't pay. Other areas that affect consumers is the fact that open internet rules don't apply to premises operators. According to Recode.net, this means basically you can't binge watch your favorite shows on a plane or download big data files in your local coffee shop. The new net neutrality rules won't apply to restaurants, airlines, libraries, or any other companies that offer free Wi-Fi service to customers. Data caps are still allowed by wired and wireless providers under this provision. And finally, broadband companies will be more transparent about what consumers are paying for, along with what their plan limitations include. So who supports net neutrality? Well, according to a video by WM News and Wikipedia, supporters of net neutrality include consumers, human rights activists, and large internet companies like Netflix, Twitter, Facebook, eBay, Amazon, and many others included in this word cloud that I've created through Wordle.net. And the opponents of net neutrality? Well, WM News and Wikipedia also states that those against net neutrality mostly include cable companies and telephone giants like AT&T, Verizon, and Comcast, along with some civil rights groups and conservative political advocacy organizations. So why is it unethical and an illegal violation? Well, proponents see net neutrality as unethical and illegal because many feel this ruling sets a precedent for future government regulation and that it will ultimately limit investment and innovation in broadband network services. Another reason why opponents are against net neutrality is that, according to a recent article from Forbes.com, many believe it'll stifle innovation by blocking certain business models that might emerge if given the option of seeking differential access to bandwidth. And finally, consumers may lose in the long run. A recent Straightcast article from the internetinnovation.org says that in an ironic twist, the consumer will be most harmed by net neutrality. Author Mike Jude states that benefits to the service provider simply assume that operators will continue to invest, which is an outcome that Straightcast models highly doubt. Decreased network capability over time would deny consumers new bandwidth-intensive services, both from operators and those who provide services over the operators' networks. Why is it ethically and legally sound? Well, one of the reasons that net neutrality is ethically and legally sound comes from SaveTheInternet.com. In a recent article, they say that net neutrality lowers the barriers of entry for entrepreneurs, startups, and small businesses by ensuring the web is a fair and level playing field. It's because of net neutrality that small businesses and entrepreneurs have been able to thrive on the internet, and they use the internet to reach new customers and showcase their goods, applications, and their services alike. Forbes.com also chimed in on how net neutrality levels the playing field by saying in a recent article of theirs that developing countries and emerging global markets with faster, less restricted broadband access will have a competitive advantage over the United States without net neutrality. And that they go on to say net neutrality extends beyond traditional internet access and into the future of wireless innovation, which puts wireless right up there in the rankings as a viable competitor to the traditional big broadband providers. Now, the other big reason as to why net neutrality is a good idea is for the consumers and users. No longer will they have to worry about what they can or cannot view, how fast it takes for them to even see it, or having to pay extra for even doing so in the first place. So, in conclusion, net neutrality does greater good than harm. While there are many unknowns about the future of net neutrality and what it can mean down the road for big brother, startups, ISPs, consumers, and users, what we do know is that right now, the FCC ruling is working in favor of the greater good for the combination of all stakeholders involved. This ruling falls in line with duty ethics, specifically natural rights, in that all humans have a right to operate online equally and without paying fees for faster services. It also falls under consequences ethics, more specifically utilitarianism, in that the action is right when it maximizes benefits and minimizes negatives. In this case, net neutrality ensures that internet content will always be open, available, and without speed restrictions to all consumers, business owners, and users. This maximizes benefits by ensuring a level playing field for all and minimizes negatives in promoting innovation with all entrepreneurs and businesses alike. Thank you for watching this presentation of net neutrality, an examination of legalities and ethics. My name is Krista Meyers. Here are my references.